Hello, my friends. Welcome back to another episode of the ThePCelitist. My name is Woodsy, and today I will be your host to my own opinions, and that's pretty much the show. The show is just me talking about what I think. So strap in, folks. It's been a little too long since I've posted a video. A lot of stuff has happened that kept me away and kept me drained. I mean, I had a wedding, not me, but I had a wedding to go to. I had a funeral to go to. It's been crazy at work. So it's just been very busy. And it gets in the way of the old channel, unfortunately. But I try to get back here as often as I possibly can. And I'm hoping to do it get even better at it. It's not... People who could do this every day and actually have a full-time job, it's amazing. It's amazing. I'm very impressed with those people. Anyway... thank you all who commented on my last video. Greg Stefanakis, Drunken Gamers, which is also Frosty. How dare he have two accounts. Frosty also posted, Alviato, Max, and Singularity. Thank you guys for telling me about the issue I kind of brought up at the end of the last video about sometimes games, especially RPGs, you know, they kind of expect that you're going to do the quest at your own pace. And they don't always give you that sense of urgency. Sometimes they say, oh yeah, there's this really urgent problem we have. But also, if you want to take your time and do some side quests, it'll wait. It'll wait for you, no big deal. Go ahead. Singularity points out a few games that actually don't do that. They actually have mechanics that the quest will either find its own conclusion somehow without you doing it, if you just ignore it, which is a cool idea. And I think it might be just a little bit a different type of gameplay. I don't know if it's better or if it's different. You know, Greg Stefanakis talks about in his comment about having like this very egocentric type of gameplay that it's there for you at your pace. And even though the characters in the game are giving it urgency, that the gameplay style is, but this is your fantasy, so the storyline of your character plays out however it plays out. And if you get to that quest a little bit later, that's how it worked out, I guess. And I think there's some validity to that. You know, it's kind of like this is a very common thing in like anime, which I don't watch a lot of anime, but I've noticed that there's a lot of like time stretching in anime where, you know, someone is about to get hit by a sword, like the sword is swinging at them, and then they have time to like think back and consider like all of their sword training, and you basically have like a whole episode within the span of a swinging sword. You know, sometimes I think that maybe like RPGs are like that, where the amount of time you took to do this side mission, it fits in somehow into this, you know, this time frame where you're not using as much time as you're perceiving that you're using. Like, I don't know, something like that. I think I think games, it deserves a little bit of latitude because I think it's a style thing. But I definitely want to try some games that force you to take every mission that says like, oh, it needs to be done now and you have to do it now or you lose the mission. It'd be interesting. It'd be an interesting way to play. But a lot of things happened while I was gone. Oh, I still want to finish the comments. Drunken Gamers, who is also Frosty. Shh, don't tell anybody. He says that I should play some games with him. I don't know. Would anybody be interested in hearing me doing a drunken cast with Frosty? I don't know. I don't know how much different I would really be if I was drunk. I think I would be just goofy. More than anything, and maybe talk a little too much. I'm not sure. But anyway, he's asking me to play video games with him. So that would be an interesting prospect. Frosty, I have to catch up on your videos because you've been posting quite a bit, and I haven't been following them as much as I should. But now that my life has gotten a little bit more lax, I will do so. A few things I want to talk about specifically today that has come up. Because this came and went during this very busy period of the last couple weeks, was the Battlefront beta, which I have some thoughts on because it angers me in some strange ways, And DICE... Okay, so here it is. DICE itself, I'm not a fan of anymore. I think of them like maybe like an ex-girlfriend who, or like a girl I was dating and the relationship just fizzled out. And you think back on it like, oh yeah, she was nice. Yeah, that kind of relationship just kind of went away. And then it doesn't really hit you the reasons why you stop seeing this person until you're like in the same room with them again, and then you're like, oh, I remember why we stopped seeing each other, because you're annoying in this or obnoxious or something like that. And that's how I feel with DICE, where I have all these kind of fond memories about them, and then it's not until I actually like sit down with a game I like instantly remember, oh, this is why I'm not a fan of DICE anymore. This is this is because it's not fun, because you guys are completely out of ideas how to make a game fun. That's really how I feel about their gameplay. This kind of solidified for me that idea that they're just out of good ideas when, I mean, besides the fact that Battlefield 4 was just not that good. I was talking to Rapid Fire Reaper, actually. He Skyped me when I was at work, and I had a few minutes. We were talking, and he was telling me about the beta. I don't think he was actually playing the beta. He was just, like, I mean, through other people experienced it, and myself included. Like, I didn't download it because I didn't want to be, like, directly disappointed. But he's telling me about how that a lot of the old Battlefront staples still apply in this game, which doesn't make any sense to me, because to my knowledge is that the old games were made by a completely different company. I don't know why DICE felt the need to uphold the standards of the old failed Battlefront games that were not good games. So I don't know why they felt like there was some standard to be kept. They should have just made their own style Battlefront game. It doesn't make any sense. And that's the kind of, like, I thought, wow, they are really just out of good ideas, because they haven't innovated anything that they've done other than graphics for a very long time. Now they're handed this license where it's like, do Battlefield but with Star Wars, and it's like, okay, how can you fail that, really? I mean, it just seems like such a natural thing to just pick up and do, but having like power-ups around the map or whatever, and just following the old Battlefront style of game, it just felt like, well, they just didn't have their own ideas to bring to the table, so they might as well just copy everything else. And they also did the other thing that really pisses me off that they've been doing, and I think this is kind of an EA thing / DICE, is the beta, because he was talking about the beta, and I go, no, maybe I'll download the beta just so I can say that I played it, that I tried it firsthand. But he goes, oh, it was just over the weekend. And I'm like, wow. 4 days or 3 days of gaming. That's not a beta. That's just like a stress test. I hate that they conflate these terms to mean something that they're not. Especially for people who might be new to this stuff, like console gamers or folk who haven't been doing this for a long time, and they think that's a beta test. You know, it gives them a completely wrong impression of what a beta test actually is. It's very frustrating. So, I mean, it's because it's not. If it's only 3 days long, they're stress testing their server. That's all they're doing. There's no feedback that people are going to give them. It's probably stuff they don't know internally. It leaves them no time to actually change. And they're in a time crunch already, let me tell you, because, you know, Star Wars is right around the corner, which I'm kind of excited about. The new Star Wars movie, which is completely off topic, but yeah, I want it to be good. I have this cautious enthusiasm about it because I just watched the recent trailer and I'm excited about it. I watched it like 4 times, so I hope it'll be good. I want to be excited about Star Wars again. So I'm more like excited right now because I just enjoy being excited about Star Wars, rather than anything about the trailer, especially, that gets me super excited. So, I have one quick subject to bring up, that's kind of a question for you guys, since Frosty actually mentioned it in his comment of the last video, how he's not really a big Witcher fan. Although my opinion of Witcher 3 has yet not changed, having put 150 hours into it, and I don't even think I'm halfway through the game yet on the primary storyline, is that it is, in my opinion, the best game I've ever played, best single player game so far. Like, unless it just goes downhill in the next half of this game, that's my opinion of the game so far. He's talking about Skyrim, and I'm just not a big fan of Bethesda's work as a general rule, and I'm trying to really find the merit in their gameplay. It's something I'm searching for, because Fallout 4 is coming out, and everyone at work is very excited about Fallout 4, and they all know that I'm just not a fan of the game, of the franchise. And I'm starting to think that maybe it's my own perception of the games, because I know that it's like Skyrim and just Bethesda games in general are these huge platforms for modding. The modding community goes nuts with these games. And it's a credit to them as developers that they allow modders to enhance the game so much. But in the past, I would say, well, that's not really... I mean, it's a credit to them that they keep it an open platform. But that doesn't mean they made a great game. It means they made a great platform. And there are things that I like a lot, like Arma 3, which is, I think, a great platform for things. But the game itself that Bohemian is putting out is not that great of a game. They just made a great platform. And I think I confuse the two sometimes, or I should just think of these Bethesda games as these platforms more than video games, as like a finished product. Because I generally, when I buy a game, I want to play it as the developer wants me to play it, kind of how they release it, vanilla, as it were. And then later, after I've done that, I think of, okay, I'm going to look for mods that change X or Y and improve the game myself. But that requires that I go through the game once without any changes, and frankly, I've always found their games to be completely boring doing that. So that's the catch, right? I start the game, I get, a third of the way in, I'm completely bored out of my mind, and I drop it for something else I like better, and I never go back to mod it. And I've been told by people who are, friends of mine who have similar game tastes than myself, and say, oh yeah, take Skyrim, mod it like this, and then it's great. And I just never do that. But maybe I'm going to do that for Fallout 4, because, I think I don't ignore it. I don't think that everyone who loves it is necessarily wrong. There are certain things that I think people like that you're just wrong, or your taste is unrefined, would be the kinder way to put it. But I think there are definitely people with really refined tastes who like the Bethesda games, and I think it's because they know how to mod it to the point where it's a really great experience, and I want to enjoy those experiences. So, is that how people like say Frosty, because he mentioned Skyrim that he likes it. Do you see it as a platform more than it is a refined gaming experience? Because I take The Witcher, and I don't need to tweak anything, because what they did with that game is masterclass from front to back. Whereas Bethesda releases these very rough around the edges platforms, maybe, and maybe it's just my perception coming in that I need to see it as such, and I will enjoy my experience. But I'm curious if those of you who maybe play it regularly see it that way, or do you play it vanilla and do you enjoy it? I don't know. Let me know in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. I hope to get back to you soon, within a day or so. Click the thumbs up button if you would, and I don't know, maybe one day soon you'll hear me doing a drunken cast, if Frosty will have me. Let's see. You guys, see you next time.